Okay, thanks a lot, Rob, and thank you everyone for being here today. As Rob said, I'm Maria Theologidou, and I will be talking today about something that we take for granted, but hopefully we can breathe new life into it, and that is classroom objects. The title of the presentation is Classroom Objects Revisited, and there are two reasons for that. And these two reasons have to do, let me go to the slide, they have to do with our classrooms. Now, I'm sure that all of us who are here today feel the same way regarding what our classrooms are. For me, they are everyday miracles, not only because we get to learn many things with our learners and through our learners, but also because we witness things that even our learners' parents cannot see in their kids. But a while ago, I started thinking about how these miracles get in a way enhanced, exaggerated sometimes, how easy it is for all of us to create new activities, to use technology. And I started thinking about how our reality, our teaching reality would be different if we stripped technology away from it all. So that gave the inspiration for a blog post series back then, I think it was 5 years ago, called Classroom Objects Revisited, where I started exploring different ways that we could use objects that we all find in our backpacks, in our pencil cases, and it has lots of different ideas. I will be just focusing on some today. But if you would like to find out more about them, you can just check out the website, sorry, where you can find all the different posts. So the first object that I would like to start with is the pencil. So what can you teach with just one pencil or two? So one of my favorite ideas is called the life cycle of the pencil. It has to do, of course, with introducing my students to the passive voice. So you just tape a pencil on your whiteboard and then you draw arrows all around it so that you can explore how the pencil was created, where it comes from. And then, of course, you can even extend it to where the pencil goes once it is used so that you can practice vocabulary and grammar relating to recycling. And another thing that I love using pencils for are props. Now, I have to admit, this has to do with something that I personally did when I was young, which was that I used pencils as microphones because I loved singing. So I think that pencils can be used for props if, for example, you practice present continuous through charades. So you can ask your students to take pencils and use them as props when they act out the different actions. I like using pencils as kitchen cooking utensils. So, for example, a pencil can be a big spoon that students can use to stir something. They can be used as knives, which they can use to cut different things. So pencils can aid any type, I would say, of role play or creative drama activity. Now, what else can we use pencils for? Now, uh, possibly one of my favorite activities is the first one called Where Am I? Where you just tape once again a pencil on your whiteboard, and then you draw a question mark next to it and two dots above the pencil so that you can create this idea of the pencil being lost in the whiteboard. And this is a great task if you want to start your learners thinking more about past simple and past continuous, so you can get them to ask questions about where the pencil has been, what was the pencil doing when it got lost in the whiteboard, and of course you can use it for lots of other different grammar activities, such as practicing, for instance, present perfect, what are the pencil's experiences up to the time when it got lost in the whiteboard. But I specifically like using it for past simple versus past continuous. And I also like the idea, especially with young learners, of using pencils as puppets and asking my learners even to create their own puppets out of pencils. And this, of course, can be used for creative role plays or for simple description tasks where students have to describe what its pencil is wearing, what it looks like, and so on and so forth. Now, the second object is paper clips. So what can you teach with paper clips only? Obviously, you can teach paper clips, I think, are one of the easiest ways to teach numbers, colors, shapes, because they're easy to bend. You can find a great number of paper clips out there in terms of colors and sizes. But one of the things that I particularly love using paper clips for is to teach empathy and manners to my kids. So what happens is that during the first weeks of lessons, we create bracelets of friendship. And what happens is that when we have teamwork or group work tasks, if my learners follow the rules and they do everything according to plan, then they get extra paper clips or different things that they can use to decorate their bracelets with. If something goes against the plan, then we remove a paperclip and we explain why, and we discuss together how they can get the paperclip back. Now, paperclips can be used for lots of other ideas. I like using them a lot for reflective tasks, and generally speaking, I like using reflective tasks as a teacher. So students, for example, can bookmark their favorite activities, and of course, explain why they feel this way about this particular activity or this particular task. And I like using paper clips for tasks where they have to extend the existing task. What I mean by that is that, for example, if they like a specific writing task, they have to suggest how this task can become more creative. They have to suggest a way of improving the task. And I also use paper clips for a game in which we create fishing poles, either out of paper clips or out of pencils, and use paper clips for the hooks of the different words or structures that we go fishing for. It's called Fish for Words, Fish for Grammar. And paper clips are basically the thing that students have to go looking for and which they have to fish for with a specific magnet that the fishing pole is attached to. Now, the third object is the ruler. So what can you teach with rulers only? Now, obviously, rulers are great for teaching math, but I also like using rulers as alternatives to speaking tasks. So I give them paper rulers, and if I see my students struggling with coming up with arguments, I tell them, so based on your paper ruler, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about this topic? Why do you feel this way? And also, if you have for example, plastic rulers, you can tape them together and you can use them as clapperboards. Once again, ideally speaking for past simple and past continuous, you can have your students in pairs. One of them can start talking about something that they were doing yesterday. The other one has to use the rulers as the clapperboard, stop the action, and say what happened while their classmate was doing the XYZ activity. Now, what else can you use rulers for? The first idea, called Fairytales extension, actually has to do with the Jack and the Giant Beanstalk story. So you can turn a paper ruler into a tree and ask your students to imagine that up there beyond the clouds, where we would normally find the giant's castle, they can find their dreams. So looking at the different numbers of the ruler, they can tell you how they feel, how close they feel they are towards achieving their dreams, and then suggest plans that they can follow, steps they can follow to get closer to achieving their dreams. And the second activity I have tried with older students, where we explored the different words, the different meanings of the word ruler. To be honest with you, I related the word ruler to a task that we were working on regarding education paradigms and how they have shifted through the years. And we were working on another brick in the wall, where we looked at pictures of the teacher in the video clip and the film as well. And through the different meanings of the word ruler, we also explored topic vocabulary regarding education, obedience, unfortunately, corporal punishment, which was an issue of the past. So you can use this very simple object to extend its uses and its different associations to other topics in education. The last object is stickers and what we can teach with stickers only. Now, nowadays we have such a wide variety of stickers that I'm sure that we can find stickers about everything. So we can make our own dictionaries, our picture dictionaries, or we can create our own Mad Libs. Generally speaking, I like using Mad Libs because they have to do with this idea of creative writing task without changing the focus of the writing task itself a lot. And you can create in the place of the words that students have to fill in, the different parts of speech that they will have to come up with. You can insert the different stickers as emojis, and they will have to come up with a word that they feel suits in the place of this particular sticker. Now, of course, stickers, just a minute, yes. Okay, of course, stickers are great, once again, at least for me, for teaching empathy. Now, I have an activity that I thought of, and it was inspired by my students once again, called Lift Me Up, where I split my students in pairs, and they have, one of them gets a bad day scenario, something like I got an F in math. They have to start thinking of how they would talk about this experience, and then the other student has to choose a speaker that they would use to lift their classmates up. So, for example, something like a happy face, something like, the thumbs up, don't give up. ideas show basically they have to work together on how they would make each other feel better about this negative experience. And last but not least, because there are plenty of more uses for stickers, I like them as story cubes alternatives. I'm not going to run over. So different stickers make a great alternative to story cubes. That would be the end of it, by the way. Or they could be used for object clues in a story sequencing activity. That's all for now. Did I run over a lot? Was I
No,
way over time?
well,
Okay, great. Because I was timing myself. Okay.
no, we're
If
good.
you have any questions, you know where to find me. For those of us who we are not friends with on Facebook, you can find me on Twitter, and you can check out the other posts on mariatheologidou.com.